Hey guys, Papa Pete here, back with another review of a classic Atari 2600 cartridge. Today's review is Adventure. Adventure is a game from the late 70s and was just recently made really popular by Steven Spielberg's movie Ready Player One. It was a million seller back in the day, so stick around and we'll take a little bit closer look into this game.
Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. If you haven't grown up by the age of 50, you don't have to.
Adventure was developed by Warren Robinett for Atari back in the late 70s. In 1977, Robinett had played the text adventure game Colossal Cave Adventures, and he really loved it, but he wanted something more. He wanted to create a fantasy adventure game that had a graphic interface, and he set ahead and did that over the next couple of years, and as he was doing it, he created some majorly innovative things for new video games and for the future of games to come. Robinett introduced gameplay that spanned across several different screens, not just the screen that you could see at the time. He also introduced enemies and other interactive players that not only were on screens that the player wasn't necessarily on, but they continued to function on those screens while you were playing on the screen that you were on. Modern gamers can't really conceive how this was so revolutionary at the time. Up until that point, most games took place on one screen. And now, Robinett created an environment where there was a whole world. And up till that point, nowadays we take that for granted, but at that point it just didn't exist. Now the code that Robinett created for Adventure was also used to create the game Superman. Now the funny thing about it is that Superman ended up being released before Adventure ever did get released. But for a little bit more on that story, you can just check my review of Superman. I'll put a link to that down in the comment section below. Warren Robinett is also known as being the inventor of the Easter egg. As many of you know, and I've talked about in other videos before, Atari at the time wouldn't give the programmers the proper credit they deserve for the creation of the games. I consider them, and many people do consider the programmers like an artist, but at that time, whether it was to keep other companies from poaching the programmers, or they didn't want the salaries for the programmers to go through the roof, Atari wouldn't recognize the programmers any more than they recognized the people who were putting the cartridges together in the factory. Anyway, this really bothered a lot of the programmers, and Warren Robinett found a way around it. He created a screen that you could only get to in a certain way that had his name on it, so he got himself some credit. Now, he put in the code for this, and he just sort of slid it in and hoping that nobody would discover it before it was printed. Well, the game went to print, the code was intact, and it'll always be known now as the very first Easter egg in video games. How about the gameplay itself? Well, the object of Adventure is to find the enchanted chalice which has been stolen by an evil magician. The evil magician has hidden it somewhere within the kingdom, and it's your job to find it and return it to the golden castle where it belongs. Now the kingdom is vast, with 3 different castles. There's the golden castle, the white castle, and the black castle. Inside the castles are dungeons, and connecting them all together are rooms, pathways, and the blue labyrinth. Now the evil magician has created 3 dragons to help guard the kingdom. First, there's Yorgel. He's yellow, pretty quick, pretty mean, but the slowest of the 3 dragons. Then there's Grendel, who's green. Grendel is medium speed, likes to guard different objects in the game. Finally, there's Rendell. Rendell is the most ferocious dragon of the bunch. He's very fast, very mean, and if you get too close to them, he'll have you for lunch in a second. Your character, which is represented by a single block, has a lot of tools at his disposal in order to help solve the quest. First of all, every castle is locked, so you have to find the appropriately colored key to unlock the gate for each castle. There's also the bridge. Now the bridge will help you pass over walls to take shortcuts or reach areas within the kingdom that are otherwise impassable. There's also the magnet. Now when the magnet's on screen, other items just slowly move towards it. It can be a lot of help in some situations, but if you're not careful, it can also cause a lot of problems. Finally, there's a sword. You can use a sword to slay the dragons before they eat you. The other major antagonist is the bat. Now, the bat isn't really an enemy because you can't kill it and it can't really hurt you. But what it does is it flies throughout the kingdom, randomly picking up items and also even dragons, either dead dragons or live dragons. And it just basically moves them around, trades them off, and randomizes the entire kingdom. It's really a pain when you go to get something and the bat takes it, or bat comes on the screen and takes something away that you need. It's kind of like the helicopter in Superman, except for the good thing about it is it doesn't make the same annoying noise. There's 3 different games in Adventure. Now, game 1 is the simplest of the bunch. It's designed for either small kids or maybe it's designed just to help you learn how to play the game. There's a lot of elements missing from the game, and there's only 2 dragons. It's really designed, you'll play a little bit off the start, but you won't end up playing it very much. Also, the game is the same every time you play it. When you start the game, the items are always in the same location. Now, game 2 has all of the game elements, the full map, and all the dragons in the game. Like game 1, however, the items always start in the same place. It's a good way to learn how to play the full game, but you're going to be looking for something a little bit more afterwards. Now, game 3 is the full meal deal. It's got the full map, the full game elements, everything's present, all the dragons are there, and every time you start the game, the items are randomized. They change every time you play. It's really the best version of Adventure to play, and when you turn it on after you've played it for a while, this is where you'll go back to time and time again. Now, another revolutionary thing that Robinett brought to home video games was the ability to continue. If you get eaten by a dragon in Adventure, all you have to do is hit the reset button, and it'll bring your character back to life and move you back to the spot beside the golden castle. Now, all the items that were wherever you would move things in gameplay, they'll stay where they were, but there's one big trade-off, and that's that if you've slayed any of the dragons, they're going to return to life as well. It was just so incredibly revolutionary for that day and age. Alright guys, let's give it a gameplay. I'm going to play game number 3. I don't know, sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it goes pretty rough. Let's check it out. Alright, here we go. We're going to go to game 3, and here we go. Oh, black key right off the get-go. When I find something like that right off the start, I usually try to get it to where I need it and use it before it gets hauled away somewhere. There's Rendell. Oh, no, that's Rendell. Oh, he's going to get me. When I get by him, I can go. I'm just as fast. We're the same speed. Oh, he got me. But both keys are right there, so I'm going to try to get back up in there and get those keys. I got the gold key. I know a Rendell. What one's that one? Grundle. Ooh, there we go. Well, I'm going to try to get the black key up and unlock the black castle, which I know is way up here. Now, oh, look at that. There's the chalice going with the bat. Oh, and it's out now. So I don't need the white castle at all. I've got the gold key right here. I can try to open the gold castle, and then I'll try to get hold of that bat. Now the bat's running around the kingdom with the chalice. Alright, golden castle is open. All I do is find that chalice and go into the castle. Wouldn't need to have killed any dragons. That's no fun. So, I don't know where it went. Oh, get around them. And we're out. Okay, gonna go back in down towards the catacombs. There's the sword right there. Look at that. I get in position so I can kill the dragons, hopefully. Up in here. One dead. Oh, great. Thank you very much. There's the enchanted chalice. I don't care about the other dragons. I have won the game. Well, that one ended up being pretty simple, really. I don't know. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. It changes every time. That's what makes this game so much fun. Thanks, guys. Okay, guys. So I'm going to introduce you my new ratings classification system. I did a couple reviews already, and it's been sort of arbitrary as to where I put things. But now I'm going to show you how it works. Adventure is an absolute classic. Every person should have this game in their collection. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I want to give you a warning though. don't pay too much for the game. Just because of the recent hype with it being in Ready Player One, a lot of people are trying to take advantage of that and drive the prices through the roof. Is it a great game? Yes. Is it a rare game? It's far from a rare game. They're everywhere. Every collector should have one. They're available. They were used to be you couldn't find at Atari 2600 collection without a copy of this in it. So be warned, don't pay too much, but definitely get this for your collection. Anyway, thank you very much for spending some time with me today, folks. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Papa Pete. Thanks for sticking around for the review. Take care.
If you haven't grown up by the age of 50, you don't have to.
You're watching Papa Pete, the old guy gamer.
What the hell?